Welcome to the Business Growth Podcast with me, Dani Louise Smith, the Queen of Business Organisation. Today I'm here with Amy, and she has got two businesses actually, but we're going to talk today about Admin Solutions. However, do you want to introduce both of your business Amy, and what they do and what they are?
Yep. So I've got A&T Office Admin Solutions, which is predominantly a VA business, but I do coaching as well. I look after or tend to be drawn to the people that are just starting out in business. Um, I'm quite particular about the checklists, about checking your business name for future proofing. You don't want to get so far with a business and then find out someone else has registered the name on company's
Mm.
house, for example. Um, and coaching wise, a lot of people out there have so many ideas that they want to do for business, but have no idea where to start or even believe that they're capable of doing that. So I help them to believe in themselves a bit more and empower them to get to where they want to be, essentially. And then I've got a tinge bit of sparkle, which my son started out through the COVID lockdowns. He was 8 at the time, so he's turning 13 at Christmas. Um, and at the minute, I'm very much the face of it. Obviously, legally, he's not old enough to own a business, so any income comes through my accounts to make sure I'm being prim and proper, recording everything. But yeah, my idea is to have the business up and running and fully fledged by the time he turns 16 or 18, depending when he leaves school. But I want it big enough for him to be able to do an apprenticeship through his own company, if that's what he wants to do.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, we're a very business-minded family, and really my passion is helping others, and you can see that in both business models, I guess. Everything we do is to help other people, be it in business or spiritually, physically, mentally. Um, so yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love that. So we're talking about admin solutions. So for anyone that's thinking, what does that even mean? What kind of admin, I mean, you've given us a little snapshot there, but
Yeah.
what kind of admin tasks in particular do you support with and you find people need the most when they're starting out?
So a lot of people need help with the websites and things. It can be very overwhelming, and prices are ridiculous if you go to a specific web design company. So I help people get their ideas onto a website, um, using platforms that have got templates. You can adjust the templates however you want. It's just some people aren't tech-minded in that sense.
Yeah.
I help with email management, calendars, making sure that everything's recorded and they know where they need to be and when. As you will know, being neurodiverse like me, if it isn't recorded and you don't get a reminder,
It
the
ain't happening.
chances are you're going to forget.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so part of my job is being there to go, right, this is what you've got on this week. If you need anything moving around, that's not a problem. It can be moved. Um, but this is what you've got on. And the same with the emails. I mean, I help so many people sort their inboxes out. And I think my personal inbox currently is sat with 67,000 unread emails
Wow.
because a lot of them are spam, and
Yeah.
it's you sign up to things to get the freebie and then you're on their mailing list. So any emails, I think I've signed up to two or three of your different lead magnets, but then I get things duplicated. And do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That side of things. So I help put automations in place. I personally don't like throwing anything away because you never know when you're going to need it. I was saying to my mum yesterday, they've just sorted out and got access to my old bedroom, and I'm sure there's a lot of my schoolwork still sat in there because I did a lot of business courses in school, and you just never know when you're going to need something.
Yeah.
So it makes me cringe at the thought of throwing it away. And the same applies with emails. So I would rather put automations in place and let it filter through
Mm.
and go. any emails from you go into their own folder, for example. So if I need to find something that's relating to business organisation, I know I can go straight into your folder and there'd be something in there that will help me. Um,
I love
so
that.
I do a lot of discussions with clients and find out, because ADHD and neurodiversity can affect people in different ways. I'm still doing a lot of research and discovery of how it's affecting me. So I like to get to know my clients. They don't need to be neurodiverse. I work with people that aren't as well, but people still have their own ways of thinking and processes.
Yeah.
So I like to do the personal touch, get to know you, work out what it is you want and need, and then we put those solutions in place.
It sounds like actually you help them get organized as well, like, but
Yeah,
you're in there doing it, which is amazing because people need that. I see it a lot. Like, I loved what I do, and I'm doing predominantly online, but there is an element of I wish I could just grab hold of your computer and show you. And I have done this with people.
yeah,
I've done I've had a client I worked with a few weeks ago that put off applying for access to work to get funds that I know that she'll be able to get that'll help her. So I sat and did it for her and with her because it was a lot easier because it's ironic. She needs the support because she's dyslexic and she's neurodiverse, but because she's neurodiverse and dyslexic, she can't fill the form in or she's put it off
yeah.
because it's actually really
And you
easy,
hear
but
it
she didn't know
so
that.
many times. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like she
I
didn't
do the
know
same
that.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's all the admin stuff in it, really. It scares people off that are maybe you're not even maybe you're listening to this and you still think I'm like that and I'm not neurodiverse and I'm not dyslexic or anything like that. But a lot of the time the tech, the admin stuff does scare people off, which is why they need someone like you.
But that, and like we were saying over the weekend, you, different factors raise different things. So if you've been through a trauma recently, that could trigger something in your brain
Yeah,
that starts you going down the neurodiverse path.
yeah,
There's so many different variants, and I do like what you do. I have so many hours a week that I set aside to help people with access to work. Um, so that involves jumping on a call. I'll get to know you a bit more, get to know the areas where you're struggling the most, and I will sit and share my screen and type all that information into the forms while you're there, and you
yeah,
can read through it. And if there's anything that needs tweaking, we can tweak it together. But it makes it awkward on the application process. It puts a limit on how much you can say.
yeah,
So you want to go into detail because they need to know how your illness affects your ability to work and how they need to see that it's level in the playing field between you and a non-neurodiverse or you and a non-disabled person or however you term it.
yeah.
But then you're limited to 500 characters. So it's using words that get more into a sentence. Does that make sense? You need
Yeah,
to
it
try and
does.
get it
I think
across.
it can be like that with any admin though you do. Like there's always some barrier sometimes for people. Like I've got this class that I do and in it one of the slides on it is like a line, it's like a timeline. So like you start in your business here, for anyone you can't see me if you're on the podcast, but basically point A is the start of your business and point B, imagine that's the end. And most people in the end they want the money, they want the financial freedom, the success. But when you're on this timeline, get into that. The steps along the way, and first of it is like setting up the foundations of your business, having these processes in place. But with that, then comes the tech block.
Yeah,
And people end up stopping there because of the tech when actually when they leap over that and just do it anyway, whether it's getting support or I find in with a lot of people I've worked with or in my audience, people aren't willing to invest in it, which is really
yeah,
it's maybe frustrating for me because I get it, you don't want to spend more money, but if you invest in something or someone that makes your life easier when it comes to the tech, whether it's Amy, you doing it for them, or whether it's all-in-one systems. I love an all-in-one system, but people see the price
yeah,
tag and go, no, I can't afford that. But what if we
yeah,
find a way to invest? It's not about affordability because then the other side of that is it will allow you to do and have so much more systems, processes in place for your business that can
Yeah.
help you earn more, can save you time. Like you say, automations saves you time, doesn't it? Saves you a
Yeah.
lot of time. Is there any other tips that you'd have, like for managing admin, that possibly could save you time, make you more money, or just make things less overwhelming?
I think my biggest tip is do a brain dump at the start of every week or at the end of every week. Get
Yeah,
everything out of your head that you know you need to do. So don't think of it as a to-do list because once you've got everything out of your head on paper, for example, say it's set up a lead magnet. If that's on there, then break it down into what that actually entails. So you're planning what it is, you're creating the document, the full process, and then use time blocking. Things can be moved. You can do it on paper if you want, or you can use Asana or Trello or that kind of thing to block in your time so you can visually see what you need to get done. It doesn't matter if it's done in that week. Like you're not doing it to put pressure on yourself. You're doing it to clear your mind so you're not focusing on other things. You can literally go, right, today I'm gonna do this element. And
mm,
it might be just doing the plan. Like if you know you've got the plan down, you're gonna feel so much better knowing that you're a step forward. And it's not beating yourself up. That's easier said than done. I know this. I work with multiple chronic illnesses, and the biggest kind of life lesson for me was do what I can when I can. If I
yeah,
need to go and have a nap after the school run, Tyler's old enough to know that, yeah, we're off to sit in mum's room for a bit and I'll sleep and he'll watch telly. He's 12. He doesn't have to come and sit with me if he doesn't want.
yeah.
Um, but he does anyway. And I used to beat myself up so much for needing to do that and feel lazy. And I really struggled for ages. And then I got the diagnosis of fibromyalgia and I was like, right, can't do all about it. It's not going anywhere. I need to learn to work around it.
Yeah.
So now if I need to go sleep, I will. My clients are all aware of my illnesses and conditions. And 9 times out of 10, I'll be working while you're asleep.
Yeah.
But work's not affected. You're still able to do what you're needing to do. I'm still being productive and I'm just fitting it around me and my illnesses. And there's so many people out there that go into self-employment because they've got an illness. They can't sit at home and do nothing. So they create a business that can work around them. So use it to your advantage. Don't beat yourself up when you can't do something. Like give yourself that space and that time and celebrate the wins. Even the smallest of wins is a step forward. I
You
think that makes
I love that. I think you're the only person that works like I do. So what I mean by that is I see a lot of people who struggle with ADHD or organisation in particular, and they just I think overcomplicate it or it's all in the head. And I do exactly the same. Every time I work on a new project, I did it for my book that's coming out. I've done it. I've got a new business. I'm starting in next year in 2025. Those listening don't know what it is yet. Amy does because I've told her. And basically, the process that I've done is I first brain dumped, right, what do I want this business to look like? Wrote it all down. And I'm ready to start actually taking the action now to make it real. But
so then it's breaking it into the smaller
yeah,
chunks so you're
that's what I'm
not
about to
overwhelming
do.
yourself.
So the first thing, like you were saying, is a plan. That's literally on my list to do is the plan. So I mean, I've kind of done a bit of it, but now it's like, okay, what are all the things I need to do? Or I'll plan
Yeah.
like what loads of planning what's going to be on the website. I've planned the services, so I might do like a timeline. And I've got actually, I've realised I need to do my business plan twice over now because it's for two businesses. So
Yep.
one can be focused on this, and one can be focused on that new business. Um, so
But I
it's doing
think
exactly
some
what you
people
already do.
find it overwhelming because of the amount that's actually on paper, where
Yeah,
in reality, to anyone else, it'd just be that one task.
yeah,
Yes, it looks like it's twice as long, but it isn't. You're just breaking it down so you get more, I call them to-das. When you tick
yeah.
off
I love
something on
that.
the to-do
Ta-da!
list,
Yeah.
you have more celebratory
It's a
moments.
dopamine hit, isn't it? When we tick it
Yeah,
off. I love
and
that.
that's what it is. So
Yeah.
you're needing more of that to keep you on track. So why not break the task down into bite-sized
We've done
chunks?
the ADHD thing of going off track, but what I was going to say is like how we're similar is we do that, but then it's actually how we are actually really organized. So I think it's quite a lot of people think ADHD, you're not organized, but actually, me and you have found it as a way to cope. It's definitely
Yep,
a coping mechanism for me. I've seen it in you, and I think it's nice to see that there's someone else out there that does things not the same because we're different people. We do things our way, but in similar
yeah,
ways because I do that as well. That's exactly what I do. And like when you were talking about like you'd go sleep and stuff, that's adaptation. I'm a huge believer in adaptation because, like you were saying, it's your health. For me, it's my husband and my son. Or both my boys at the minute, actually. Very challenging situations have always come up for us with whether my husband can do XYZ based on his health, or whether, my son can go into school today, which is a whole nightmare even now. We're like,
yeah,
we juggle it, but then it impacts my business, but it doesn't impact my business. So, for example, like I adapt. So I know it's going to be a challenge on a school morning, massively stressful. So rather than coming home and jumping straight into work today, for example, those who follow me on Instagram will see me dancing on my stories and stuff because that is how I regulate when I get home. I stick some good music on. I might do a few deep breaths, have a cuppa, I dance, and that regulates me because it makes me feel good. Um, and there's no I can do like while he's in school. So that's how I regulate. And if I have to do that 10 times a day, I'll do it 10 times a day. But
yeah,
then I think because I'm organized as well, I can then finish dancing, come to my business stuff, and I can get on with it because I know what I'm doing when I'm doing because of what you said. And it makes a
yeah.
difference. So adjustment
And I
is
love that
massive.
how you say about the dancing. I mean, I've witnessed it over the weekend, and I've always been one to put music on, and
Yeah.
I I'm that ADHD person that finds a song they love and it's on repeat until the point that I get sick of it and I have to find the next song to go on repeat, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, but both me and Tyler will put music on if we're feeling down. And it stems from watching Grays. And I know this is completely off track, but the 30-second dance parties,
Yeah.
and it changes how you think and your energies. And it does link in with the crystal business as well, because it is all about your energies and the alignment. If you're wanting to bring good things in, you need to think in a positive way and have those high vibrations. And
Yeah.
dancing and listening to music is a really good way of bringing you out of feeling sad.
I think it's
I
clear as
follow a coach that says you can't be sad and happy at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. And it's
And
about balance. Like both businesses you have actually are clear and balanced because you've got like the admin solutions business where everything's organized, probably more masculine energy, structured, and that kind of stuff, which helps
yeah,
people that struggle with it. But then you've got the crystal business, which is the energy, the healing, the spiritual stuff that actually you need to be able to do the other side. But
I
then
was
you
going to
need
say it links together really
yeah,
well.
it really does. I mean, I don't show it enough, but I use crystal. I'm wearing a crystal on my arm today. I use crystals. I've got them in my office. And yeah, there's quite a lot in my office actually. And I use them now and again, like if I do rituals. I'm quite spiritual. I don't share it a lot, but I am, and it plays a huge part in being able to show up in my business and
Yeah.
stay organized as well. Have you got any top tips for adjusting, like you were talking about, like you would go and have a nap, but have you got any tips for how adjusting, like we've talked about, can actually support your business and help you manage both, like
I
if
think
anyone's struggling?
finding those adjustments that you need, um, it takes time and it's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah,
Um, but don't let that stop you from finding them. It's quite freeing in a way. Um, I always used to think that business had to be 9 till 5, and that if you worked weekends or worked over in any way, shape, or form, that you were doing it wrong. And
yeah,
then when I became self-employed, you never stop, especially if you're neurodiverse and in business. Your brain is constantly trying to look for the next big thing.
yeah,
So there's always going to be those ideas and things popping up. Um, but people that are working with clients, especially if your body is saying you need rest, you need to find a way of resting because you're taking on your clients' energies whilst working with them. And if you're not rested and protecting yourself, you're going to head to burnout. So listen to your body would be the biggest tip. And don't be afraid of the outcome.
yeah,
I was scared for ages that needing to have a nap was a sign of failure. And it's only since I've been properly diagnosed and learning more about the ADHD side as well, because that has a direct link into fibro, and that's all in your mind. And like you need to protect your brain. And if it
mm,
needs to rest, like you can pick up so many illnesses. Like one of my illnesses, my immune system attacks itself. So I'm on a form of medication that gets rid of my immune system. So I'm very susceptible for picking things up.
yeah,
And if I'm run down and stressed, on top of having no immune system, I know I could be out of action for 2 or 3 months, which
mm,
you don't want to do for your business. So I think that's where listening to your body, having the processes and the policies in place, which is obviously what you do as a business, um, so that you know you've got people around you. If you've got access to work and you've got a support worker, make sure they know how to keep your business going if you're not going to
yeah.
listen to what your body's saying. Um, so yeah, listen to your body and don't be scared of what it's telling you,
I
I
love
think
that.
is the
So,
biggest
so
tip.
important. I love how you really have got a balance of both. They just work in harmony together, and it's just amazing to hear and see.
It does when it wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I've realised there's no such thing as a perfect balance, but I'm at a point now where I'm really happy. And like, you've just reminded me of this. Like, I started listening to my body, I started working on my health, and I'm trying my best to take and try trial and error, as you said, a new
Yeah,
approach where I lean back to move forward. It's scary for me because my belief is, got to work hard, you've got to work all the hours to make the money to hit that next level. But now I'm like challenging those thoughts and like, what if I can hit my next level whilst working less? And I've reduced my client days down to, so I'll only do client days twice a week, unless it's like a VIP day, then I can do like I'd do a Wednesday or a Saturday, which are typically a day off, but it's once a month, so it's not gonna
yeah,
impact me massively. I put those boundaries in. I've put processes in place, like you say, so that I can work on my health and work on my business. Actually, has made me really, really productive, not unproductive, very productive.
yeah,
And I'm only a few weeks into this new routine that I've created, but it it's made a massive difference so far. Like today, we've actually ended up recording this later, haven't we? And we've had to adjust
yeah,
because of Zoom issues. But I'm not stressed about it. Like technically now it's in my lunch break, but I'm not
yeah.
stressed about it because I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. I know that I can catch up. I know that my energy is really good. So I know that I'll be really productive and I'll be on it, and it's probably happened for a reason. So yeah, it's just I think it's that
But
just in and
anything that
just
doesn't get done, it's not going to kill you.
exactly. I can actually do it
People
tomorrow.
think, and there's people out there that will. run themselves into the ground. I mean, through
Yeah.
COVID, I was employed. I was working 40 hours a week. I was homeschooling an 8-year-old. I was looking after the cats. I ended up working 7 in the morning and then finishing work at 2 or 3 o'clock the next morning
Wow.
because I was homeschooling as well.
Yeah.
I got no thanks for it. I ended up on death's door. Like, I was literally so exhausted. Nothing good came of it.
And this
Tyler
is
went off back to
why
school, and
this
him
is
saying, I don't want you to go back to work
is
was
that
the
what
biggest.
influenced you then to
Yeah.
make change and to do this for a business? Because I'm very
Yes.
similar.
So he's always gone to nursery from being 6 months old.
Yeah.
He's always done a minimum of 3 days a week. Um, and when I got made redundant in 2018, I was going to I did set up Office Admin Solutions. And imposter syndrome kicked in. I ended up
Mhm.
not doing it. I went for 33 interviews in 2 weeks and
Wow.
got offered one job. And that one job was the one that I really didn't want to be offered. Out of all of them, it was an hour's drive away and 40 hours a week. Um, and I ended up doing it and I was earning pittance. I'm running myself into the ground. I could feel my eyes shutting when it got to 2 o'clock in the afternoon and having to fight through to then have to drive home. And Tyler went back into school and said, first day back, I really like you being at home. Please don't go back to work.
Oh, it
Job
hits
done, not
hard,
going.
doesn't it? It
Yeah,
hits really, really. I've been there. This is why I relate to your story so much because for me it was Eliza was 6 months old and I went back to work. The reason I did it was because of money, because we lost everything at that point, and I felt like I was forced. But I'm not going to say it, I don't care, by the government. I felt forced because we had no income. Whereas if I could have relied on staying on maternity, I would have just stayed at home 3 months longer, then I'd have got a job. But now I believe there was a reason for that. I can see the reasoning, but
yeah,
it hurts that I went back to work when
yeah.
she was because she's my last baby, and that I went back to work when she was 6 months old, and I could have had more time at home with
Yeah.
her. But I don't think it's affected anything. Like we are so close,
No, and
and
she
because
won't know any different either.
no, she's my mini me.
When my
Yeah.
illness first started, Tyler had just turned 13 months old, and I ended up in and out of hospital for 6 months, and work practically said, if you don't come back, if you hand in another sick note, we can't keep your job open anymore.
Oh,
And I got full pay for 6 months. And
yeah.
it was like, well, I'm going to have to come back. And then that illness never went away. So I
Yeah.
was told that it should go in 6 to 8 weeks. I've now had it 11 years and it's still not gone. And it's opened up doors for every other chronic illness coming in as well. And it's like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it swings and roundabouts, but I do believe that everything happens for a reason, and I've gained that experience, and I now know to listen to my body. Um, I'm guessing you're the same. We've both grown up in worlds where parents are working,
Yeah.
and it's never self-employment. It's been employed, so you're in that mindset, and you grow up in that mindset that you have to do that.
Yeah.
There's no other option. um, when it's becoming more and more apparent that people just aren't set for the employed life. Any
Yeah.
meeting that was going on, I might not know you at work and you're having a meeting with the manager or the senior manager next door. And my brain would go, oh, that meeting's about me. What have I done?
Yeah,
Why are they talking about
it's
me?
funny actually because you've just made me realize something. Like I did have working parents. However, my biological dad was self-employed. Probably not legit, to be fair. He was a window cleaner. But before that, when I was very young, he was a drug dealer, which is
Right.
off record self-employed, isn't
Yes.
it? So I guess my view growing up of working for yourself was bad because it's doing bad things, it's doing what you shouldn't be doing when I've got my parents that brought me up were
Yeah.
working and constantly what he's doing is bad, what he's doing is bad, what he's doing is bad.
Yeah.
So then it sticks with you, I guess. And I've never realised that connection before until today. So it shows
But it's
that
those
these,
limiting beliefs. It adds
yeah,
in the beliefs.
it does.
There's an element that's in my chapter in the book that's about being in school, and I got told off for something that I was really proud of. We'd all been asked to do I statements, so I'd written them as affirmations. This is
Yeah,
in year one, so you're talking 5, 6 year old. And because I started every sentence with I rather than making it into a extra long sentence and having I in the middle of it, I got shouted at in front of the class. And now, as much as I work in admin, the writing of content and that side of it terrifies me
yeah.
because I still read everything and I'm like, that's got too many eyes. Why have I started every sentence with I?
But it makes you a
And
good proofreader.
I
It
was going to
does.
say, between you and Mandy at the minute and picking up on proofreading, it's an element that I'm a stickler for because
Yeah. But
I
you
was
can use that as a
ridiculed.
strength now. And I just want to mention the book
Yeah.
that you mentioned was Beyond the Ordinary, which we both featured in. So I will
Yep.
link it into the show notes. However, we haven't announced it on the podcast yet. We got bestseller number one status at the time of recording this over the weekend. We got number one, didn't we? So let's celebrate that. Me and Amy are now both best-selling authors, which is great to say. Um,
Definitely. And I imagine that's going to be a double soon.
I hope. Yeah, I'm determined to make it happen. And because my book comes out next month, and well, at the time of recording this, the like this episode going out, it'll be out and the book will be launching. But Amy is a lovely sponsor for my pre-launch event, which I'm so grateful for. So if anyone wants to read your story, they can come read a bit inside Beyond the Ordinary. I'll link it in the show notes. But where else
Yeah.
can they come and find you and connect with you as well?
So I've got, it's probably easier doing my websites. I've got www.officeadminsolutions.co.uk and www.tinchybitofsparkle.co.uk. I have passed you my link tree, so that's got all my Facebook profiles, Insta profiles, and the websites on there as well. If you are into crystals, there's a crystal freebie on the link tree about how to cleanse your crystals, and it takes you through 5 step-by-step methods to cleanse the crystals that you've got already.
Oh, brilliant. That's great. So definitely go check it out, guys. And the question that I ask all of my guests is, what would be your best tip for being organized within your business?
I'd say it goes back to the brain dumping,
Yeah,
getting everything out, and then using the time block method to block your time out. And don't beat yourself up if you don't get everything done in a day, because ultimately it's not going to hurt you in any way, shape, or form. It just rolls on to the day after. Um, so I think too many people get caught up in, I can't go to sleep until this is finished, and that just isn't good for your mental health.
no,
So don't worry if things don't get done. There's always tomorrow.
definitely. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Amy. I've loved it. It's been an
Thank
interesting
you.
conversation that I didn't expect,
I'm going to say
actually.
it's gone around the houses a bit, but that's typical
Yeah. Well, you just
ADHD,
had
isn't
me
it?
sharing on here that my dad was a drug dealer, which nobody knew.
I'm
And it was a story for
sorry.
another day, which I will be sharing. I will reveal. I'm gonna have to do an episode on it. So coming in 2025, I will do an episode on my life growing up and a bit
Yeah.
of insight into that
It's
and what I've
another
learned.
book for you.
I am gonna write it, but it won't be for a while. It's gonna
Fair enough.
be I always get confused with fiction and non-fiction. It's gonna be a true based book, but I'm gonna dramatize it and make it a novel.
Yes.
So you heard it here first. That's what's coming. Because I love writing.
Awesome.
and I'm definitely going to be doing more in future. Thank you so much, Amy.
No
I've
worries. Thanks for having me.
loved this. Thanks a lot.